入っている賞金10万円を目指していきます。全長が13メートル、高さが4メートルある大勝利。
こちらです。
Kabukicho. The vibrant red light district bursts with life and color. As Japan's entertainment capital, it's where the Japanese come to shed their sekentai, social reputation, and tatemai, public facade, in order to finally embrace their true selves. Sekentai refers to one's social appearance or reputation, while tatemai is the polite, neutral front people maintain in the presence of others. To understand why Kabukicho is so frequented, it's important to explore the foundations of Nippon no bunka, Japanese culture. Japan, as an island nation, thrives on group mentality. Alongside sekentai and tatemai, every Japanese person is raised with sekensama, the obligation to society, and giri, a moral duty to act in ways that bring honor rather than shame to their community. In this social structure, maintaining giri means always keeping sekentai in mind. Japanese social culture is built on the principle of haibon, normalcy. Standing out is discouraged, as fitting in is key to acceptance. This means that one's tatemai, the acceptable surface-level emotions, should always be displayed, while hone, true personal feelings, are kept hidden. Authentic friendships are rare. What matters is being accepted in work or school environments. Once you leave those spaces, the need to conform shifts to your new social surroundings. This dynamic can be seen when asking Japanese people for their opinion, often met with the response chotto, meaning maybe, or inconvenient. Yet, when one enters Kabukicho, all these societal expectations dissolve. It's a place where people can be free from the constraints of Japanese society. The question is, how did Japan develop into a society where such spaces became necessary? The answer lies in the evolution of artistic and social expression, beginning with the geisha. What comes to mind when you think of Japan? Pink sakura blossoms, anime, or otaku culture? Perhaps the iconic image of a geisha with her white painted face, red lipstick, and elaborate updos. But what exactly is a geisha, and how did they originate? For many Westerners, geishas symbolize eroticism or exotic Japan, perhaps even a feminist figure throughout history. However, first and foremost, geishas are entertainers. The word itself translates to artsperson. During the Heian period, 794 to 1185 CE, Japan's capital was established in Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto. Heian women were renowned not only for their beauty, but also for their intelligence and wit. They kept diaries and writings, and the noblemen pursued them by composing waka, 31-syllable poems. If a woman reciprocated his emotions, she would reply with a poem of her own. In the late 1600s, following the Battle of Sekigahara, Ieyasu Tokugawa was declared shogun. To celebrate the newfound peace, he established pleasure quarters and encouraged artistic expression through kabuki theater, which means stage performance. Kabuki remains one of Japan's most popular art forms. Back then, it drew large crowds of men, so much so that in 1629, the government banned female performers to reduce male patronage, replacing them with young men. By 1652, only adult men were allowed to perform. Geishas first emerged in Kyoto's 5 hanamashi, geisha districts in the 1750s. By 1779, the first geisha registration house, Kenban, was established. To become a geisha, one had to train in the art of gion, which included dancing, playing the shamisen, a classical 3-stringed instrument, and most importantly, mastering the art of conversation. Their guests were often political figures and influential men, and geishas were skilled in guiding these men in political matters through subtle conversation. This granted them a significant role in Japan's political sphere, giving them a certain level of power. The structure of the geisha profession today is vastly different from the past. Historically, young girls aged 10 to 12 were sold by their parents to geisha houses for financial gain and the promise of a better life. They began as maids while learning the art of gion. By 16, they became maiko, apprentice geishas, attending ozashiki, banquets to observe and learn. At 20, they were declared full geishas. At this point, their virginity was often sold to the highest bidder as a way for the geisha house mother to recoup her investment in the girl's training. The choice of suitor rested with the mother, though the geisha could influence the decision with her skills in poetry and music. Today, becoming a geisha is entirely voluntary, motivated either by a love for the art or the pursuit of a husband. Training now begins at 14 or 15 after completing basic education. Unlike in the past, apprentices are pampered by the geisha house mothers as fewer young women are interested in the profession. By 17, girls are introduced as geishas, attending exclusive parties with celebrities and enjoying their youth. They are free to leave the profession whenever they choose, and virginity is no longer a requirement. Modern geishas have full control over their body and sexuality. Some choose to lose their virginity to a loved one, while others opt for a professional deflowerer hired by the geisha house to train them in sexual techniques. Afterward, their hairstyle signals the transition, and they are congratulated by peers. It is now frowned upon for a geisha to sleep with someone she doesn't care for. The danas, wealthy patrons, who frequent geisha houses are still powerful men, so geishas continue to hold influence in both political and business matters. Some geishas become number 2 wives to their patrons, though this practice is not widely accepted, and there are no legal documents formalizing the relationship. They are also discouraged from bearing children as it would interfere with their duties. Despite their eroticized image, geishas have historically been symbols of empowerment for Japanese women. Their profession is well respected, and their influence stems from both their power of choice and their political and business acumen. Contrary to their eroticized image in the West, geishas represent the intersection of culture, politics, and feminism in Japan's complex social structure. But with geishas no longer the only outlet for men to express their hone, true feelings, where do men turn today to break from the restrictions of workplace decorum? Kabukicho is well known for its neon-lit billboards, often depicting young men in sharp suits and flamboyant hairstyles. These are the hosts, the central figures of Japan's host clubs. While many assume that hostess clubs are the female equivalent, the structure and dynamics between the two are quite different. Hostesses, also known as kyabakura, are sometimes seen as modern-day geishas. Though they don't have to master traditional arts like playing instruments or dancing, their roles are strikingly similar to those of the geisha. Hostesses are expected to listen tenderly to their guests, providing emotional comfort in a nurturing, almost maternal way. As scholar Anne Allison describes it, this interaction is a fetish of both presence, motherly indulgence and ego support, and absence, lacking the emotional pull and interminability of real mother-child relationships. While sex is not required, some hostesses choose to engage with guests in that way. Much like geishas, they hold significant influence as many of their clients are men of power, including businessmen and politicians. But where do women go to shed their tatemae and freely express their feelings and desires? The answer lies in host clubs. Much like their hostess counterparts, host clubs provide women, ranging from their early 20s to late 40s, a space to reveal their hone, true selves, and escape their daily pressures. The first host club, Night Tokyo, opened in 1966 near Yaesu train station, and while it started privately, the nature of the clientele hasn't changed much. Today, hosts primarily serve hostesses and panpan, sex workers, who seek to experience the same emotional indulgence they offer their own clients. Host clubs have become immensely profitable, with top hosts earning anywhere between $10,000 to $125,000 a month. The industry grew so rapidly that in 1984, the first laws regulating host clubs were enacted. The business model of host clubs is intriguing. New hosts often stand outside the club, enticing women with compliments and flyers. Japan's loneliness problem contributes to the demand for these services. Many Japanese seek temporary companionship through host or hostess clubs or injukusai, rent-a-friend services, to briefly live out their authentic selves without the fear of being judged. For a woman's first visit to a host club, the prices are relatively cheap, a clever marketing strategy. After that, it's up to the host to keep her coming back. The goal is to make her feel like the most important person in the room for the night. For example, if she needs to use the bathroom, her host will wait outside holding her purse, ready with warm towels and tissues when she returns. Before the evening ends, the guest selects her exclusive host, Shimai, and a contract is signed to ensure no jealousy-driven conflicts arise within the club. Hosts earn more of their income through drink commissions, especially on champagne calls, the most profitable part of the job. Drinks inside the club are marked up by 30% to 50%, and hosts earn between 35% and 50% commission on each sale. While many hosts are around 24 years old and initially see the profession as easy money, the job demands late nights, heavy drinking, and a toll on their health. Yet, most hosts enjoy the camaraderie within the host and kyabakura community, bonding over their shared experience as outsiders in Japanese society. Despite the stigma, hosts see themselves as yashida, healers or psychologists, because, like geishas, they are masters of conversation. They are there to listen, comfort, and provide a sense of companionship, though the profession is not without its difficulties. The stigma attached to hosting means that most of the money made in the industry remains within it, as everyone is searching for emotional connection in one form or another. Japan's loneliness epidemic has fueled the growth of these clubs. In a society where conformity is highly valued, places like host clubs offer a temporary release for those who crave emotional connection but cannot find it within the rigid structures of daily life. For a deeper dive into the world of host clubs and their intricate structure, I recommend watching Neil Nilgiri's insightful video, The Dark Reality of Japanese Host Clubs. In Japanese culture, female idols are young media personalities, often in their teens or 20s, admired for their attractiveness and cute qualities. Aoyagi Hiroshi describes idols as multi-talented individuals who sing, dance, act, and frequently appear in commercials. Historically, the term idol was reserved for foreign celebrities, while local Japanese entertainers were known as stars until the 1970s. It was during this decade that a distinctly Japanese concept of idols embodying innocence, purity, and emotional accessibility emerged in mass media. As demand for these young stars grew, beauty and talent contests became a staple on television, propelling girls mostly aged 14 to 16 into stardom. Iconic figures like Mori Masako, Sakurada Junko, and Yamaguchi Momoe rose to prominence in the 1970s, while the 1980s saw stars like Matsuda Saiko and Kodo Shizuka become household names. These idols frequently appeared on TV shows, in commercials, and in photo books, often combining innocent and provocative imagery, similar to how geisha portraits were once marketed during the Edo period. The return of Okinawa to Japan in 1972 also facilitated year-round swimsuit photo shoots, further boosting their commercial appeal. However, by the 1990s, the influence of female idols waned as the music industry shifted toward rock bands like BZ and Mr. Children. Meanwhile, male idols, especially those produced by Joni Kitagawa's agency, Joni and Associates, gained greater prominence. The idol market diversified, introducing new categories such as gravure idols known for their provocative photographs, and the net idols who emerged online. Kyoko Date, Japan's first cyber idol, was a virtual figure with a fabricated backstory and original songs. Even female athletes like Fukuhara Ai and Asado Mao became regarded as idols due to their sweet, cute personas. For many, female idols represent the ideal woman in Japanese society, often portrayed as sex symbols while simultaneously expected to maintain an image of innocence. The media's obsession with these young stars led to frequent negative coverage, sometimes as a tactic to sell magazines or punish specific idols. Variety shows began humiliating idols for entertainment, boosting ratings through cheap laughs and shock value. This spectacle contributed to the perception that idols were at the bottom of the entertainment hierarchy, often willing to go to great lengths for exposure. In the past, idols were shrouded in mystery, their public and private lives carefully orchestrated to maintain an image of perfection and luxury, far removed from the reality most Japanese experience. Hiroshi Aoyagi, a Japanese cultural anthropologist, has been one of the most vocal critics of Japan's idol industry. Much of this essay draws from his research, particularly from his 2005 book, Islands of 8 Million Smiles. Since 1988, Aoyagi has referred to his study of idols as idology, exploring the significant role they play in Japanese society and culture. Although his work has been critiqued for focusing primarily on female idols, Aoyagi delves deeply into the structure of the idol industry in Japan, acknowledging the patriarchal pressures that female idols face. To fully grasp the complexities of the idol industry, one must understand the jimosho system, which translates to office in English. Jimosho are talent management agencies that dominate Japan's entertainment industry. Unlike traditional talent agencies, jimosho can be likened to production factories, with idols serving as the final product. These agencies wield immense power, controlling not only the idols, but also the production and distribution of media content. While K-pop has globalized its reach, J-pop remains heavily localized, and the jimosho system was the first to implement the rigorous training and character crafting process that molds idols into marketable entities. Idols are considered the lowest tier in Japan's entertainment pyramid, and their individual power is minimal compared to the masterminds behind the jimosho. These agencies often mold idols from a young age, putting them through intense character training to maximize their marketability. Jimosho thrive on commodifying idols, who are seen more as products than as artists. This business-first mentality results in a highly regimented, controlled environment where idols must adhere to strict behavioral guidelines. Their public personas, as well as their personal lives, are managed down to the smallest detail to maintain a palatable image for the public. Aoyagi critiques this system in the opening chapters of his book, noting that idols represent the idealized traits of youth. These adolescents are marketed by promotion agencies to reflect specific cultural values such as cuteness, purity, and social appropriateness. Idols are commodified as role models in both appearance and behavior, functioning as allegorical figures through which capitalist values seep into Japanese society, contributing to the commercialization of selfhood. The jimosho system reflects the broader relationship between the media and capitalism in Japan, where idols are treated more as products for consumption than as artistic performers. In his chapter, The Ethnography of Idol Production, an overview, Aoyagi states, idols are designed to contribute to the industry's establishment in the market by virtue of their abilities to attract people and perform as lifestyle role models. Aoyagi draws parallels between idol production and traditional Japanese arts, explaining how performers internalize their roles through repetitive practices. He introduces the concept of kata, form or style, illustrating how idols are shaped into predefined roles through their performances and media exposure. To stay competitive, entertainment agencies must craft the perfect idol. This is why we see a variety of idol types within the industry. The competition isn't just about individual popularity, but also about how agencies market their talents to secure dominance. Agencies strategically create distinct personas, such as the girl, boy next door, or the mysterious idol, to appeal to different audience segments. Aoyagi further states, idol performances function as contemporary rituals that contribute to the habituation of capitalism, especially the fetishism of commodities. This is evident in the way idols like AKB48 become central to Japan's advertising ecosystem. Idols aren't just entertainers. They're used to sell products, raise awareness for political and charity campaigns, and more. They appear on commercials, variety shows, and dramas, blurring the line between entertainment and advertisement. Fans form a deep emotional connection with idols through reality shows where idols are presented in casual, real-life settings. This sense of intimacy makes fans more inclined to trust the idol's endorsements, as if receiving a recommendation from a friend. Advertisers capitalize on this relationship by promoting idols over the products themselves, demonstrating the power of emotional marketing in Japan. Through fostering these intimate connections, the media and agencies transform viewers into loyal consumers, not only of the idols, but also of the brands they endorse. This system reveals how idols serve as intermediaries between products and consumers, leveraging emotional attachment to drive consumption. Idols are symbolic products that shape youth identity, consumer behavior, and social values in modern Japan. They embody perfection, flawless skin, perfect hair, and ideal personalities that align with traditional Japanese values. These idols are carefully curated by promotion agencies to reflect cultural ideals such as cuteness, purity, and social appropriateness. By doing so, they serve as modern-day rites of passage, guiding young people through the transition to adulthood by modeling behaviors and appearances that are socially accepted. As Aoyagi Hiroshi notes, idol performances facilitate socialization and integration into Japanese society, emphasizing traits like modesty, conformity, and cuteness as virtues for young people to emulate. Female idols in particular are held to a high standard. As we've previously discussed with geishas and hostesses, the ideal Japanese woman is often expected to be pure, polite, submissive, and motherly. This image of femininity is central to the appeal of female idols, but it also makes their fall from grace all the more dramatic. When an idol's image cracks, particularly due to scandal, fans often feel personally betrayed. This was evident in the 2009 Sakai Noriko media scandal. Known for her girl-next-door image, Sakai's arrest on drug charges, along with her ex-husband, Yuichi Takaso, led to a media frenzy. The public, accustomed to her pure persona, was shocked. The scandal dominated headlines, even eclipsing major political and economic events, as media outlets competed to reveal every sordid detail. In Japan, scandals are portrayed as moral failings. Celebrities, as public figures, are expected to uphold societal values, and when they fall short, their failures are scrutinized by the public. Such events often serve as catharsis for societal anxieties. As Aoyagi aptly states, the idol industry operates as a terrain in which cultural symbols and their images are constantly generated, contested, and refined. In this landscape, idols are not just entertainers. They are representatives of cultural ideals, making their missteps a matter of public concern. Aoyagi has long focused on female idols, critiquing how they are treated within a traditional and patriarchal society. Japanese women, in general, navigate a culture that still holds on to rigid gender norms. Yet, as with geishas and hostesses, female idols find ways to adapt and reclaim control. However, idols start their careers as teenagers, an impressionable age when they are still discovering their identity. The pressure from the jimusho, talent agencies, can often be overwhelming, breaking their self-esteem as they are molded to fit into predefined roles. This affects both male and female idols, but the gender dynamics at play are significant. In Japan, there are two major male archetypes: Koha, the tough guy, and Nanpa, the romantic flower boy type. These personas dominate the portrayal of male idols, particularly those from Joni and Associates, one of Japan's largest and most influential idol agencies. Known for producing groups like Arashi and SMAP, Joni's idols are created to embody idealized versions of masculinity that appeal to female fans. The goal is profitability. These male idols, who often embody shonen, youthful boyhood, remain in a perpetual state of innocence and non-threatening masculinity to cater to the fantasies of young women. Joni's idols serve as vessels for fan projection, allowing women to explore and reimagine traditional masculinity. Female fans don't just consume idol images passively, they actively engage with them, often through fanfiction and doujinshi, fan-made comics. Many of these narratives involve homoerotic relationships between idols, providing a safe space for women to explore desires and gender roles that challenge patriarchal norms. The fascination with homoerotic relationships is most clearly seen in the popularity of BL, boys' love. BL is a genre of fiction, anime, and manga that depicts romantic relationships between male characters and is primarily created for a female audience. Within idol culture, BL allows women to explore male-male relationships free from traditional gendered power dynamics. Unlike the hyper-masculine men seen in Western media, Japanese male idols often embrace a softer, more androgynous form of masculinity, making them appealing figures for fans to project their fantasies upon. BL and idol culture thus become spaces where women can subvert traditional gender roles and create alternative visions of masculinity that align with their desires. By depicting emotionally vulnerable and physically attractive men, these fantasies challenge dominant gender expectations in Japanese society. Female idols, on the other hand, are constructed to embody specific gender ideals, often reflecting traditional notions of femininity like purity, innocence, and submission to male authority. As Aoyagi notes, this packaging of self in which an adolescent persona is signified as cute, pure, modest, and full of promise, is a cultural practice that aims to collectivize public imagination. The idol industry not only reflects but also reinforces societal gender norms, making it a powerful tool in shaping how femininity and masculinity are perceived in Japan. Although both male and female idols are products designed to maximize profit, the way they are treated by their agencies differs. Male idols are often forgiven for missteps and allowed to maintain their personas as long as they don't break the illusion entirely. Female idols, however, are held to a much stricter standard. Their image must remain untarnished, as any slip could be seen as failure to uphold societal expectations of femininity. Idol followers generate rituals of worship, which includes decorating their living quarters with idol goods, setting up alcoves devoted to their favorite idols, and attending idol concerts regularly as a place of collective worship. Aoyagi Hiroshi remarks, idol fandoms in Japan differ significantly from those in the West. If we were to compare it, perhaps the closest example would be the One Direction fandom from the early 2010s, but even that pales in comparison to the dedication of Japanese idol fans. Aoyagi and many others liken these fandoms to religious cults. Fans participate in rituals of adoration, attending concerts, collecting memorabilia, and engaging in communal activities that reinforce their emotional connection to their idols. To better explain this almost cult-like behavior, there is no better case study than the idol group AKB48, a prime example of the idol system at its most effective. The group's structure and fan engagement provide a tangible showcase of what we've already explored in this essay regarding idol culture. AKB48, with over 130 young female members, was created in December 2005 by Yasushi Akimoto, a Japanese lyricist active since the 1980s. Akimoto envisioned AKB48 as idols you can meet, believing that just as people's taste in wine varies, their preferences for idols also differ. Rather than crafting a singular, rigid persona for each girl, Akimoto allowed the idols to showcase different facets of their personalities. Initially, AKB48 was an underground group, slowly gaining popularity in the late 2000s. According to Nendai Ryoku, an online popular culture almanac, the group's first 10 CDs struggled in sales, with none surpassing 100,000 copies, and most selling fewer than 30,000. However, AKB48's fortunes changed in 2010 with the release of Beginner, which sold over 1 million copies. Since 2011, every AKB48 single has sold more than 1 million physical copies, including Sayonara Crow, released in 2013, which reached over 1.9 million in sales. By 2015, AKB48 had made history as the first Japanese musical act to achieve 20 consecutive million-selling singles. Their success was critical to revitalizing Japan's music industry, which had seen declining CD sales similar to trends in the United States. AKB48 helped reverse this trend, allowing Japan to surpass the US as the largest music market in the world. Despite this commercial success, critics argue that AKB48 and other idol groups prioritize likability over musical talent. Some point out the group's manipulative image of purity, which suppresses individuality and exposes young idols to psychological and physical risks for the sake of the group's success. This strategy favors group's marketability over artistic merit. Yet, AKB48 remains a significant player in the Japanese and Asian idol industry, inspiring many, including the modern K-pop scene. AKB48's success isn't accidental. It's the result of a carefully crafted system by Akimoto to ensure continued growth. One of the group's key innovations is its unique election system. Due to the large number of members, fans vote to determine who will lead the next single and become the center of all promotions. These votes are cast by purchasing CDs, each of which contains a ballot. Fans spend vast sums to secure votes for their favorite members. In 2012, one of AKB48's fans reportedly spent $6,700 to secure 2,700 votes for his favorite singer. The election event that year garnered nearly 1.4 million votes, with over 150 media organizations covering the event. The voting numbers continue to grow each year. This system isn't limited to music. AKB48's branding extends to merchandise, cafes, mahjong tiles, and more. The group even has its own theater in Akihabara, where they perform daily for fans and hold handshake events, allowing fans to briefly meet and connect with their favorite idols. The large number of members guarantees the fulfillment of Akimoto's idols you can meet concept. AKB48's reach goes beyond performances and products. The group collaborates with major brands like Nippon Airways and NTT, and even partners with Japan's self-defense forces to promote good causes. Fans deeply invested in the group's success spend enormous amounts of money and time ensuring their favorite idol rises to the top of the AKB48 pyramid. This has been described by Satoshi Hamano as a serious simulation game where fans compete financially to make their favorite idol stand out. For some members, winning these elections can propel them into successful solo careers. For example, Yuko Oshima, a two-time election winner, went to become a successful actress, even winning the Best Supporting Actress award at the 38th Japan Academy Awards after leaving the group in 2014. Atsuko Maeda also found success in both singing and acting after leaving in 2012. However, less popular members may struggle post-graduation, facing challenges like declining fan support or a lack of media exposure. This kind of engagement fosters a parasocial relationship between fans and idols, one that can be almost cult-like in nature. Wotas, a term derived from otaku, superfans, and used for loyal idol fans, are often men in their late 20s or 30s seeking emotional connections with underage girls. During idol concerts, wotas perform routines of dancing and cheering known as wotagai, which involves jumping, clapping, arm waving, and chanting. These rituals, which began in the 1970s and 1980s, have since spread into the K-pop scene as well. This dynamic between fan and idol can be problematic. Management companies often encourage fans to fantasize about their idols as romantic interests. Lyrics from AKB48 songs fuel this fantasy. For instance, the NMB48 song Fantasy Girlfriend includes the lines, "I'm a boyfriend, boyfriend, your boyfriend, boyfriend. I wanna boast about it a little. It's not a lie and it's not a dream. We're the perfect couple." These lyrics encourage a courtship-like relationship between idols and fans, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy. Songs like Virginity and Innocence Under 19 play up themes of sexual innocence, adding to the fantasy. Even more unsettling, AKB48's merchandise include photographs of members that can be tasted. Yes, tasted. These flavored photographs are marketed with fruit or, bizarrely, body odor flavors, playing into fans' tactile imaginations and encouraging deeper connections with their favorite idols. Akimoto claims he doesn't interfere in his idols' personal lives or ban them from dating, yet the pressure to maintain the illusion of purity is immense. In 2013, when Minegishi Minami, a member of AKB48, was caught dating Alan Shirahama of the boy group Generations, the scandal erupted. In a tearful video, Minegishi, head shaved in a traditional sign of contrition, apologized to her fans, saying, "I know that this, shaving my head, doesn't excuse my behavior, but I do not want to leave AKB48. I am completely and solely responsible for what happened." She was demoted by the management agency to trainee status. This incident sparked a wave of reactions from fans and media alike. Some devoted fans, shocked by the betrayal, believed Minegishi deserved her punishment. One fan even confessed that after hearing the news, he cried all night until he fainted, later waking up to a nosebleed. I recall the warmth of her hands at the handshake event, but now I realized it was all a big lie. Still, her bowing in the video reminded me of the beauties on the traditional Japanese flower cards. I loved her with all my heart, veins, and whole body. Why did she betray and forsake me? Such reactions highlighted the intense emotional investments fans had in maintaining their idol's image of innocence. While some fans supported the harsh punishment, others critiqued it. Public relations expert Kaiko Ishikawa praised Minegishi's apology as an example of textbook crisis management, remarking, "For the agency, idols are its product. The most important thing to do is brand control." However, others, like film director Yamamoto Yutaka, expressed horror at the video, likening it to the imagery of Nazi concentration camps. Kobayashi Yoshinori, a conservative manga artist, defended the love ban law, arguing it was designed to preserve the chastity of idols and ease the concerns of parents, metaphorically referring to it as keeping their iron panties on, an ode to NMB48's vow in the song Innocence Under 19. Western media also weighed in. Outlets like CNN compared the incident to Japan's military culture, suggesting that Minegishi's shaved head and apology resembled the actions of a disgraced samurai trying to regain honor. As criticism of the industry's love ban surfaced, many began questioning its human rights implications, leading to more lenient penalties in recent years.
AKB は終わりました。
This obsessive fandom can lead to dangerous situations. In May 2014, during an AKB48 handshake event, two members, Rina Kawaii and Anna Iriyama, aged 19 and 18, were attacked by a man with a saw. Although the assailant wasn't a fan, the incident highlighted the vulnerabilities young idols face when thrust into such intense public interactions. But what drives this obsession with one-sided relationships? Psychiatrist Doi Takeo suggests that many Japanese men seek dependent, passive love, resembling infantile attachment to their mothers. Hiroshi Ogawa offers a more practical explanation. Imagined relationships remain perfect, free from rejection or conflicts, which makes them preferable to real-life relationships. Aoyagi adds another layer, pointing out the connection between idol purity and the Shinto concept of purity. Some idol fans see respecting female purity as preserving Japanese tradition, standing in opposition to Western-style feminist liberation. In a fast-paced, technology-driven world, it's easier to fantasize about love than to experience it. Idols provide an emotional outlet for a love-starved generation, offering an idealized form of connection that can never truly be fulfilled. The Japanese idol industry, as we've explored, is more than just entertainment. It's a powerful machine that shapes societal values, youth identity, and consumer behavior. Idols, crafted to embody the ideals of cuteness, purity, and accessibility, serve as emotional surrogates in a culture that thrives on group conformity and the suppression of true emotions. Hone. These young stars offer fans not just entertainment, but a form of escape, an opportunity to engage with a sanitized, perfect version of human connection that feels authentic, but is meticulously curated by Jimosho agencies. In the process, idols become products of an industry that prioritizes profit over the well-being of both the performers and their fans. This commodification of emotional relationships mirrors traditional forms of entertainment in Japan, such as the geisha and host-hostess clubs. Historically, geishas were skilled performers who navigated both art and politics, using their influence over patrons to gain power. Though geishas were admired for their talents and conversational skills, they, like modern idols, existed within a system where their interactions with men were tightly controlled. Hostesses, too, provide emotional support to male patrons in a way that echoes the idol fan dynamic. Just as hostesses offer men a safe space to express their hone, idols offer fans, many of whom are men, a fantasy of emotional connection without the complexities of real relationships. However, while geishas and hostesses actively wield power through their roles, manipulating conversations and relationships to their advantage, idols are trapped in a far more restrictive system. The Jimosho structure denies them much of the agency that geishas historically held, as their lives, both public and private, are tightly controlled by their management. Whereas a geisha could subtly guide her patrons for personal and political gain, idols must conform entirely to the roles assigned to them, with little room for personal expression or autonomy. The psychological parallels between idol worship and the patronage of host and hostess clubs are striking. Just as hostesses are paid to listen and offer emotional validation, idols are marketed to fans who crave connection and attention in a society that often discourages emotional vulnerability. Host clubs cater to women seeking to express their desires in a judgment-free zone, much like idols offer young female fans an outlet for their fantasies, particularly through the creation of homoerotic narratives in fan culture, boys love. The significant difference lies in how these relationships manifest. While hostess and hostesses provide real-time interaction, the idol-fan relationship is entirely one-sided, with fans projecting their desires onto idols who remain unreachable. Fans, especially those categorized as wotas, develop parasocial relationships with idols, idolizing them as friends, lovers, or even family members. These one-sided relationships remain perfect because they are constructed within the confines of fantasy, free from the messiness of real-life relationships like rejection or conflict. The obsessive devotion of fans reflects not just their emotional investments in the idols, but also a broader societal issue, the loneliness pandemic in Japan. The country's rigid social structure, combined with the increasing pressure to conform in both personal and professional settings, leaves many people disconnected from meaningful relationships. In this environment, idols serve as emotional substitutes, providing a form of connection that is artificial but comforting. Psychologists like Doi Takeo suggest that many Japanese men seek dependent, passive love akin to their childhood attachment to their mothers. This desire for safe, non-threatening affection is projected onto idols, who are expected to remain pure and unattached, never engaging in real relationships that could disrupt the fan fantasy. Just as hostesses provide emotional validation without the complications of real-life relationships, idols are marketed as blank slates onto which fans project their desires and insecurities. However, unlike geishas or hosts, who can engage in mutual exchanges with their patrons, idols remain at a distance, maintaining the illusion of intimacy without any real connection. The Minigishi Minami scandal illustrates the fragility of this constructed fantasy. When news broke of her romantic relationship, fans reacted with intense feelings of betrayal, highlighting how deeply invested they were in maintaining her image of purity. In contrast, male idols are often forgiven for such transgressions, underscoring the double standards that exist within the industry. The extreme reactions, ranging from tears to accusations of personal betrayal, reflect not just disappointment, but a deeper psychological reliance on these idols to fulfill emotional voids left by a society that often discourages open displays of vulnerability. The idol industry's enforcement of purity is reminiscent of the iron panties metaphor used by some to describe the vow of chastity imposed on female idols. Kobayashi, Yoshinori, and others argue that this vow preserves the innocence and chastity that idol fans expect, reinforcing traditional gender roles that place value on female purity. While geishas could wield their sexuality as a form of power within a controlled framework, idols are stripped of that agency, reduced to symbols of innocence who must adhere to strict social codes to maintain their marketability. This commodification of emotional relationships, while lucrative for the agencies, has darker consequences. Fans who pour money and emotional energy into their idols are drawn into a cycle of consumption that benefits the entertainment industry while offering little in return. The parasocial nature of these relationships leaves fans emotionally unfulfilled, perpetually chasing an intimacy that can never be reciprocated. This echoes the way patrons of host and hostess clubs engage in emotional exchanges of temporary comfort, but with the added illusion that idols are more accessible, more authentic, when in reality they are even further removed from the personal connections fans seek. In conclusion, the idol industry mirrors and amplifies Japan's deep-rooted social and cultural pressures. Like geishas and hosts before them, idols exist to fulfill emotional needs in a society that often leaves individuals isolated and longing for connection. However, unlike those traditional entertainers, idols are far more restricted, serving as mere products in a system designed to maximize profits at the expense of their humanity. As Japan grapples with issues of loneliness and social disconnection, the idol industry provides both a mirror and an escape, raising important questions about the cost of these one-sided relationships. For both the idols who must conform to impossible standards and the fans who are left emotionally unfulfilled.
前田、
はい、
お前ラーメン好きなん？
ラーメン好きです。
おっしゃ、味の表現が大切やから。
はい。
前田、
はい。
やる気あるか？
あります。